have a pretty crazy idea. I want you to ask yourself for a second, what if you truly believed that life is happening for you instead of to you? How would that change your life? It's one of those things, that phrase, life happens for you instead of to you. You see it, it sounds like something that you would see in a bumper sticker. And to be honest, I never used to believe it. I didn't get it. But when I truly started understanding the world of energetics and how important mindset truly is, this phrase started to change my life and is one of the main reasons why we have everything that we have. Now, we just got to Mexico City. It was a whirlwind travel. It was almost 29 hours of travels from Asia all the way here. And this phrase has just come up over and over again. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Anna Rogers. I'm committed to creating a video every single day for the next 30 days, and who knows, maybe even longer. But I am here documenting what it is like to have this big, crazy, audacious dream and actually just going for it. Now, as I was saying, we just landed here in Mexico City, and it was a grueling flight. Yes, we had business class. Yes, we did it as comfy and as bougie as possible, but you are still traveling between continents, and so it took a long time. Now, the reason why this phrase kept coming up is because a lot of the times when things happen to us, our first reaction is, oh, why? Why does this happen to me? Or I can't believe this is happening. And we fall into the pattern of stress. We fall into the pattern of worrying, of thinking that we need to control every single thing. Whilst if you truly believe that things happen for you instead of to you, everything starts to shift. Now, what do I mean by this? So we got off this mega crazy flight and we had flown from Bangkok, where Tom did his high rocks. We flew from Bangkok to Hong Kong to Vancouver, and then Vancouver to Mexico City. Now, we arrived in Mexico City, it was like 7 a.m. And because we had a crazy idea of just doing hand carry luggage for 3 months, we strolled straight out of the airport. Now, obviously, it was way too early to check into our Airbnb. We had booked this Airbnb for 2 weeks because we are here in Mexico City for 2 weeks because Tom's doing surgery. And so we messaged the place and they were like, you can drop off your bags, but you cannot check in until 3 p.m. Tom and I were like, that's fine. So we actually had an amazing idea of going to a spa where we did the cold plunge, the sauna, and we got massages. Everything was freaking fantastic, and it was the best come down from a long ass flight. Now, at around 3 p.m., we were starting to flag. I was exhausted. I wanted to sleep. I needed a bed. And so we started messaging them. And the Airbnb people started getting back to us and we're like, sorry, my team is delayed in cleaning. It'll take an hour. You can check in at 4. Now, there's nothing really that we can do. And Tom and I, since we started renting our villa in Bali, we're just like, oh, these people are dealing with a lot. Let's show some compassion. So we're like, okay, no worries. We'll come back at 4. 4 p.m., we pick up the keys and we get inside the apartment. And it is a different apartment from what we had booked. It was completely different. And it was facing a street. It was really loud. It was noisy. We were like in the main highway. And Tom and I were just like, no, like this is not happening. And there was a moment there where I was just like, I was really, really tired. All I wanted to do was get to bed. And instead of falling into the, I can't believe this has happened, why us, why now? Instead of falling into this trap, we kind of just took a second and be like, okay, there is a deeper meaning of why this is all happening. Now, we managed to get a hold of the host and he was just like, sorry, there was a mix up, but you're in this apartment. And they were just like, we can show you another apartment. We looked at the other apartment. It was okay. Basically, it was okay. And it didn't look comfortable for 2 weeks. And so we had an option. We were like, Do we believe that life is happening for us? And yes, that is a fundamental belief that we have now adapted. It is baked into our DNA. And so we were like, okay, let's look at what else is out there. And when this was all happening, I was on Airbnb, I was browsing through different apartments, and I see this one, and I was like, wow, that looks really, really nice. And we messaged him, and Tom was just like, hey, can I see the apartment right now? I'm in Mexico City. We're looking for a place to stay for 2 weeks starting tonight. And he gets to this place, and he was just like, it is amazing. We're moving there. The owner gave us an incredible rate, lowered the rate down by another 10%. Airbnb gave us a full refund. And the place that we are in right now, it is 10 times better. We have this like huge outdoor area. I'm going to show you guys in a bit. And the living room and bedroom, it looks like kind of like a New York modern loft. Everything worked out. And we lay in bed that night, last night, thinking, wow, everything really happens for you. And I realized as well that this is such a healthy and optimistic approach towards life, because the only thing that you can ever control is yourself and how you react to certain situations. The exact same thing can happen to two different people, and one person can react negatively. The other one can be very neutral and can choose to see the positives. And both of those things will have completely different experiences. Both those people will have completely different experiences as to what happened. And so, as humans, your ability to react to situations and react towards the things that are happening to you will change and affect your experience of that thing. And so, if you truly understand this, then you know that whatever happens, you can choose to reframe this so that you can always see the positives. And so, Tom and I, even though we were so tired last night, we were just like, wow, I'm so happy that there was a delay in the check-in and we got there and it wasn't the right unit and we managed to get a full refund and we managed to get this awesome place that is like 10 times better. But it all started with this belief. Because if we had fallen to the, oh my God, why is this happening now? I'm so tired, blah, 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 we probably wouldn't be in this current apartment right now. Now, I want you to think, where in your life can you adapt this belief? How can you start thinking that life is actually happening for me instead of to me? And honestly, there has been so many other instances in my life where this has been a huge game changer. You know, I truly believe that this perspective is one of the reasons why I met the love of my life and married my husband. Because when I had a series of events that happened to me, I chose to see them as this is happening for me for a reason. It is happening because I need to learn from this, I need to grow from it, or I need to go through this. And so at that time, my situation was a little bit more of a bigger inconvenience. This was when a glass shower door ended up shattering on me. Now, because of that glass shower door incident, I ended up postponing my entire travels around Vietnam and the rest of Southeast Asia. I ended up going back home to the Philippines. I ended up traveling and doing some domestic travel around there. And then finally, on like this crazy whim and this crazy like gut feeling, I was just like, I'm going to go back to Vietnam. And on day 3, that's when I met Tom. We would have completely missed each other if I had gone through my first leg. If that accident never happened to me, I wouldn't have ended up in the ER. I wouldn't have stitches. I wouldn't have gone home to the Philippines, and I would have completely missed him. And the same thing for him. You know, there was a series of like detours and mishaps that led us to one another. And if you truly believe in this fact, life can surprise you. Life can surprise you no matter what it throws your way. There is also always a silver lining. There is always a way to see, okay, if this is happening for me, where is this leading? And how can I make sure that I am responding to life in the right way? And when I say in the right way, it is not controlling, not white-knuckling your 5-year plan because you're not leaving room for magic. You're not leaving room for the growth, for actually you trying to like grip so tightly. A lot of the times we think that we know where we are going. That's why we're creating all these like 5-year plans, 10-year plans. A lot of the time we are co-creating with forces that are bigger than us. Forces, not to sound woo woo, but it's true. We are co creating with life and with forces bigger than us. And if we admit it, then we can start to bake in room for play, for magic, for excitement, for wonder, for cool things like this to happen. I always think about the things that I can control. Tony Robbins, he is huge on focus on what you can control. And that is the main thing, right? That is his entire message. What you are focusing on is what will happen in your life. And so if you are constantly focused on this is always happening to me, guess what? More things will keep happening to you. If you notice, sometimes you enter this streak of bad luck and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Well, the next thing keeps happening because you keep focusing on what's happening versus actually trying to reframe it, versus actually believing that, okay, what is the lesson here? What am I supposed to experience? What am I supposed to extract from this particular experience that will help me become a better person? And so there's been so many instances in my life where I've found this to be true. And I challenge you. I challenge you to start thinking from this lens of what if actually life was happening for me? How can I respond better? How can I show up with excitement, with focus, with obsession? How can I respond in a way that I am able to get the gold, right? I say this all the time. What we are really doing as humans is we are extracting the gold from our lived experiences and alchemizing that, turning it into something that we can use, a lesson, a growth experience, a challenge for you to be better. And so, you know, everything that happened last night led us to this apartment. And we are 100% sure that even though life will life, because life will always life, even though that happens, we know that there's a reason. So let me know if this resonated with you, if this is something that you believe, if this is something that you have a hard time believing. I know I sure did when I was younger and I couldn't understand, I can remember kept asking my parents, I was like, yeah, but why would this person die so early? Why would this person get cancer? Why would this person this? And I realized that even in those situations, there's always a silver lining. There is always a reason of why this will happen for you. And it starts with that small perspective shift. So let me know if this landed, if you resonate with this, if this is something that you believe in. So drop in the comments and I'll see you in the next video.